Today I will speak about In Flames, one of the most important metal bands of Sweden and of the metal scene of the 90s. Let's say that In Flames, together with Dark Tranquillity and together with At the Gates, they were the most important bands of Gothenburg, of their city from Sweden, and they made this sound of Gothenburg that also we know it as the new wave of Swedish death metal, or of the new wave of melodic Swedish death metal. In any case, they were people even in these years that they didn't like this kind of metal. They said that these bands they were melodic and they were not exactly death metal, and not exactly old school death metal of Sweden as Unleashed, as Dismember, as The Grave, and etc. Also at Entombed, so they didn't like them. But in any case, these bands, and especially In Flames, with their Iron Maiden influence in their sound, they brought so many people inside metal. And of course, In Flames, they changed themselves as many bands of these years, as Amorphis, also as Tiamat, as Anathema from Britain, as Opeth. We have a lot of bands that changed their sound in these years, from then until now. In any case, we have 13 albums until now of In Flames, and we're not speaking here about the EPs. And we can speak about three periods of them. The first period until Clayman, that is the most classical period of In Flames. Afterwards, we have a more melodic period that starts from the album Let You to Remain, and the last period from the sounds of a playground fading after the Jesper Stormblood left the band. We have another period even more melodic that continues until today. And so let's make a video and to speak about worst to best about their albums. I can say that I like every In Flames album, and I like all the periods, but we have to understand that In Flames of today, they're not the In Flames of the past. And if you ask me what you prefer more, I will say 100% I prefer the old In Flames. But I think that the band continues. They didn't die after Clayman. And not only that, I think that also they are very connected with metal. Maybe they are not melodic death metal. They are not, of course, death metal. Some people are saying that they are emo. No. Until now, they continue to be inside the metal. They're not like Anathema that changed themselves totally. So let's speak about the 13 albums, and I will rank them from worst to best in my personal taste. So in the 13th place, I will put the album Siren Charms. This album is the most melodic album of them. This is not a bad album, okay? But here we have something totally different from what we knew until this day about In Flames. In the 12th place, I will put the album Let You to Remain, of 14 songs of Conscious Insanity. Okay, this is the first album that came after Clayman, and from here they started to be more melodic. And many people that liked the old In Flames, they didn't like this album. And also today I can say that the album is not bad. Of course, they have also some melodic death metal songs inside the album, but in general, this album is not what I prefer more from In Flames. In the 11th place, I will put the album Sounds of a Playground Fading. This is the first album that came after the Jesper Stormblood left the band. From here, they became even more melodic. But this is also a cute album. You can see also this inside. We have also their mascot, Jester, here. In the 10th place, for me, come the album Come Clarity. And now, this album was even more strong, even more hard for these years. Okay, after the Two to Remain, some people they are saying that this is the most extreme album of them. But in any case, I didn't like it so much because in the year that came out in 2006, they wanted to be very influenced by the metalcore scene of United States. And what is the problem with that? Let's say the whole US metalcore scene and also the new wave of American heavy metal of these years, they were very influenced by the bands of Sweden of the melodic death metal and of course of In Flames. So we come here and we see that they are starting to come after the influences of their followers. Okay. Now, in the 9th place for me comes the album of 2019 of this year, the new album of them, and I'm speaking about the album I, The Mask. A not bad album, a very melodic album, but we have to understand that in this style that they're playing today, this is a very good album. In the 8th place for me comes one album before I, The Mask. I'm speaking about the album Battles. Also, the same story as I, The Mask, but I prefer it a little bit more than the last album. In the 7th place, for me comes the album A Sense of Purpose, the last album that Jesper Stormblood was in the band. In the 6th place, and here some people will say, why you are putting this album in this place? I put the album Colony. This was their 4th album, and I put it in this place because for me it's a little bit very common and very close to Oracle, okay, as a continuousness of Oracle. Now, in the 5th place, for me comes their debut album, and I'm speaking about the album Lunar Strain, okay. Lunar Strain, here, the singer was the singer of Dark Tranquillity, Michael Stein, and his voice is a little bit very close to black metal in this album. And also, let's say that in the first album of Dark Tranquillity, the singer was the singer of In Flames, okay. They were very, very connected, these two bands. Also here, Jesper Stormblood, he played the drums and not the guitar. After this album, a little bit, he's from the 2nd or the 3rd album, he started to play the guitars. Now, in the 4th place, for me comes the album Soundtrack to Your Escape. For me, this is the best album of In Flames of the new melodic era. A very good also album. In the 3rd place, their 2nd album, The Jester Race. Okay, this album is one of the masterpieces in the whole style of Swedish melodic death metal and of the whole metal in the 90s. From this also album, they started to be with their classical style of them. And now, in the 2nd place, for me comes the album Clayman. For many years, I thought I didn't like very much the band, this album, and why? Because I felt that it was even bit more melodic from Oracle or from Colony in these years, okay? But today I can say we did also, nobody expected what they will come afterwards with Return to Remain, but this album is a classic and a masterpiece. And in the first place, for me, of course, comes their third album, Oracle, the Playing with the Words. This was also the first album that I listened from In Flames. A very good album, a masterpiece also. It will be always in my heart. So, from Israel and from Jerusalem, stay metal and stay heavy.